kicks while others scream and cry. And my friends think that I'm sick or maybe uneducated, and my family doesn't want to admit that they are related. And monsters and madmen who rape and mutilate are perfect entertainment when I take her on a date. You can shove and spark vampires and family comedies. Give me blood and beast and booze and take me triple B's. Don't ask me why, 'cause I don't know. Don't close your eyes, enjoy the show. 'Cause I'm a gore, hellbound horror movie lover. I like my voyeurism with a glass of red rum, 'cause I'm a gore, hellbound horror movie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show, the show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other cult classics. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on?
Nothing. March Garris.
Yes,
March is on.
it does.
See what I did there. We are back for March Garris. We have this week is my pick. I'd never seen it, but it was my choice.
Is that true?
What?
I thought you had memories of this.
No, I have no memories of this.
Okay.
This was insane. I watched it before
That makes
we
me feel
interviewed.
better.
But really, I mean, has there ever been this is more of a Goosebumps movie or show than any Goosebumps movie or show,
That's a good analogy.
right? It is very Goosebumps-esque. You gotta submitted for your approval for the Midnight Society's vibe going on here. But before we get into that, let me I just want to promote real quick, because I feel like the people that know about it love it, and I feel like not a lot of people know about it. But our episodes are live on YouTube now, so check that out. You could go to ihatehorror.com or Instagram, the links there, and check it out, because people, lots of comments on them every week. Shout out to those people, those individuals that comment on it every week, and they love it. They love it. So appreciate them for checking that out, and you guys should check it out too. But video's also on Spotify too. If you watch on Spotify, you could check out the video episodes on that also. So
Good feedback for our studio.
yes, people really like it, which is cool. That was what we were going for. I saw somebody say it was like Wayne's World-esque, and that was literally what the move was. That was what we were going for there. So appreciate all the nice comments on that. And also I want to shout out Patreon, because we're doing some fun stuff there. Lexi and I recorded some episodes of just a made-up show called Hollyweird, talking about the current events in Hollyweird. And then Joe's got a music episode coming out next week, and that'll be fun. Or this week, rather, by the time this is released. So make sure you check that out. Patreon.com/ihatehorror. And we have our live show March 29th for March Garris, Writing the Bullet, starring none other than Mr. David Arquette.
Have you seen that movie?
I have not, but producer Lexi recommended it, which means it's going to be fucking the worst. But she did give a fair warning. She was like, it's fucking nuts. It's fucking crazy. So we'll check it out March 29th. So join us for that 9 p.m. And producer Lexi also just said that we do have a YouTube URL. It's youtube.com/@the horror show. That's it's a convenient format for hey, how do you put an @ sign in a fucking URL? Never seen that in my fucking life, but there you go. There you have it. And the last big announcement, well, not announcement, but information, Salem Horror Fest. We're going to be there live Saturday, May 3rd, 6:30 to 9. We're doing a live show, and then we're headed across the street to Bit Bar. It's like a video game arcade bar, where we're going to be doing horror trivia. We're the hosts of Horror Trivia, brought to you by the Salem Horror Arts Collective and Bloody Disgusting. And we're going to have some Bloody Disgusting merch to give away. So make sure you come out. and do some trivia with us. I don't know how it's
Well,
going to be because we'll probably both be blacked out. So
I feel like people have fun when they come out and hang with us.
oh, they do. The after party is the bigger of draw.
I would agree. I would agree.
I feel like we're getting to a point now where people are going to start coming to shows, and like it's like a wedding when you go to the church first and then it's the party afterwards, the reception afterwards.
Reception, yeah.
I feel like the live show's getting to be the church part where people are like, well, I guess we have to sit through this and to then watch them get fucking so drunk that they can't speak.
Yeah, so come out, come hang. If you're in the
Come
area.
hang with us, and ticket information is coming soon, so follow Salem Horror at Salem Horror. Follow the Horror Arts Collective at Horror Arts Collective. You can go to horrorartscollective.com also and salemhorror.com. You can check that out. So that is that. March Garris.
Yes.
Quicksilver Highway. Written and directed and produced by Mr. Garris himself. This was after his hit role in The Stupids, which how did we not talk to him about that?
That's Tom Arnold, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how we didn't.
Dude,
Huge missed
that-
opportunity.
I feel like it was the same year. I'm not even going to look it up. I don't care. But that period of Meet the Deedles and The Stupids, where it was just family comedies of people acting so dumb that it like broke your own brain. What a time. What a time in those early aughts to do.
John Landis directed Meet the Stupids.
Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense now.
Some might say it's his best work.
Some might say. Vic Morrow might say that.
Jesus.
Think he saw that?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Good feeling he did not. Jesus.
Lexi asked me if she could like post. I think this is what she was asking me, if she could post my thing that I had said about John Landis earlier, and I was like, or Vic Moreau earlier, and I was like, Lexi, it's 2025. Like literally, no one knows who that fucking guy is.
I mean, it's a very big blemish on Hollywood.
I mean, but does anyone really know about it or care about it except like movie people, like movie dorks and stuff like us? Like, I feel like if I said that to anyone, they'd be like, I don't know who you're talking about or what you're talking about.
Maybe not. 2 kids died, man.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's as funny as The Coffee Table. I'm just saying it's just saying.
God.
I think it's past the point of. I think we could say things about it. We can make little jokes, not at their expense.
Okay, I'm sitting this one out.
Hey, yeah, you know what? Let's move on. R.I.P. Vic. Anyway, John Landis made The Stupids. Mick's timeline is very interesting. Very, very interesting timeline for this guy. He just doesn't stop working. Quicksilver Highway comes out the same year as The Shining, 97. And then you like go through his Wikipedia and then you're like, oh my God, he's done like so many other things like during that time period, like whether he's acting or writing Michael Jackson's Ghosts. It's actually kind of crazy, like how it hops around. He did The Stupids in 96 as an actor. He was definitely in this movie, but it's not written here. Did you catch him in this movie?
I did not. Where was he? What segment?
He's a doctor that like pops up very quickly.
The hand segment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you catch Clive Barker's cameo?
I don't know.
Well, Joe, you must have just turned away because it was the most.
Well, listen, man.
Wait, but it actually proves my point because I was going to make this joke later. They did a cameo that was so like. He's a doctor. He's one of the doctors, and he's got his scrubs and his mask on. and he like pulls it down and like talks to one of the characters, but he might as well have just winked at the fucking camera, like, hey, it's me, Clive Barker. But my joke about it was, no one knows who the fuck Clive Barker is. Like, he's not a movie star or by any means, you know. He's an author, really, when it comes down to it, and he like pulls it down as if it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Look at, can you believe that? It's Clive in this scene. It's like, oh, all right. But, and that's why you missed it, because no one knows what Clive looks like.
Listen, I want to be respectful. I think Mick is wonderful. I think he was very gracious to be on our show. I did not like this movie one bit. My eyes were glazing over by the end.
I don't mind this movie.
Can I ask you why?
I don't know. It's like a fun little TV movie. The Chattering Teeth was fun. These would have been hit or Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes.
That's fine. 30 minutes made for kids.
They were like 45 minutes each, I guess. Although no, because Christopher Lloyd is chewing up the scenery in this fucking movie. The in-between segments, I don't want to say they were so long. They weren't, but he talks for so long in those segments, and I don't know anything he said in them.
In every one of those segments, the person he's talking to is like, "Hey man, does any of your stories have a fucking point?" And I was thinking the same thing. Like, stories need to go somewhere.
That was actually my favorite part. And to call it back, it actually made Christopher Lloyd's character seem like a moron, because after the first segment, that woman is like, so is there like a moral to this story? And he's like, what's with the fucking morals? Why does this story need a point or morals? And she's like, I don't know. And then the last segment, the guy's like, so this is a morality tale? And he's like, I don't know. I don't think so. And the guy's like, all right, I gotta fucking go. Just bothersome. He's just a bothersome guy. I don't know. I didn't mind it. I thought they were fun. The hand one was a little weird.
See, I'm opposite. I like the hand one a lot more than I like the Chattering Teeth.
I want to know what the real story of the hand one is, because there's 0% chance that is what Clive Barker wrote. It's for sure fucking psychotic. I want to read that short story that Clive Barker wrote, because I bet you anything it's fucking nuts. Dude, the end of the hand one
with the nose.
Yeah. One of the greatest scenes in TV movie history.
One of the scenes.
And these were based off of two stories. One by Stephen King, Chattering Teeth, and the other, The Body Politic, by Clive Barker. So that's what it was. And it was aired on Fox. So it was clean. It was very clean. I think it was released as PG-13 on video afterwards. So, so he produced it, wrote it, directed it. So there you go. Also, well, I want to do the cast as we do them.
Okay.
Right. I think that's the best. I think that's the best idea. So I gotta say, so I need to like take a few of these gummies. I got Magic Mind. You got to check them out. I actually saw them on an Instagram post and through some other podcasts, and they looked incredible. They have these shots that you can take, and I'm trying to get away from coffee. So I was looking into it, and like 2 days later, they reached out to the show and offered to send us some products, which I happily agreed to. But they sent us these new gummies that they have, and they are so good. And they give you such a huge boost of energy. I'm eating them now, sorry, into the microphone. But they're so good. And you can take 3 any point during the day. I started taking them like before workouts and now before the show. And they're so amazing. They've replaced my morning coffee and my pre-workouts now. Pretty good. And my son James is like obsessed with them. So he started taking them. It's available for kids. You can take kids can take one. Ages 8 to 12 can take one. Adults take 3. You get like a 90-day supply in here too. Or 90 count, sorry. 30-day supply. They've just been a lifesaver. And you know, if you're trying to steer away from coffee like I am, it's amazing. And doctor approved, 100% safe, doctor validated. So yeah, it's so good. I can't live without them anymore. So Magic Mind, you've got a customer in me, and they're offering our listeners 25% off on their order if you head on over to magicmind.com/horrorgm, HORRORGM, or just head on over to magicmind.com and use the code horror25, HORROR25. You get 25% off the gummies. So go check them out. They're great. The team over there is awesome, and I love that they sent them to me. And A+, guys. A+. Anyway, I gotta keep eating these things. Anyway, back to this stuff. Dude, I'm so energized. It is absolutely nuts. So the one thing I wanted to talk about before, instead of doing the cast, is Mark Mothersbaugh. Is that how you say that?
Mark Mothersbaugh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Devo.
does the score for this. And I was like, that's so crazy, because now he's doing, you know, huge movies now. He does everything, right?
Halloween Town?
Did he do Halloween Town?
You did.
He has done so much stuff, but the one that stood out to me, because I went through and I was like, how early was this movie in his resume? And it's pretty early, but he did the theme for the Super Mario Brothers World TV show, which I hope is the one Captain Lou sings and like walks around the screen like
that show's
psychotic. Captain Lou Albano pretending to be Mario and that weird guy pretending to be Luigi. But he also did the Beakman's World theme.
One of our favorites.
One of our favorites. Way better than that fucking hack Dr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard.
I agree.
Mr. Wizard stunk. But he does the score in this, which I thought was pretty impressive. Actually, the cast is very impressive. Did you happen to look them up?
Yeah.
It's an impressive cast. We'll get to it though. So we open with a pair of newlyweds stranded on the desert. The husband goes to go get help, leaving his new wife on the side of the road, who is approached by Christopher Lloyd, who looks fucking nuts.
I mean, it's the Addams Family makeup still. He looks very Uncle Fester-ish.
Uncle Fester, but with his
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
With Mark Davis, the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders haircut.
That's true.
Remember when that story went around? By the way, just look up Mark Davis if you don't know what his haircut looks like. It's crazy. It's a bowl cut, right? It's a bowl cut. Right. But remember that story came out that Mark Davis would drive like 6 hours because he had a specific barber he had to go to get that haircut?
I do. There's something going on there that needs to be investigated.
His dad was a fucking psycho too.
Well,
Al Davis. Remember he had those sunglasses with like the fucking chain on it that went behind your neck, but it was like a gold chain. It was fucking wild. Anyway, I don't know how else to describe him. He's wearing like what would you even call that? It's not a dress. It's not a cape. It's a
duster.
I don't know what a tunic is. Is it a duster? It might be a duster actually, with a shirt on under it. I don't know. He looks insane, And his name is Quicksilver. That's where we get this title from. But his full name, I don't know why they need to give him a full name. His full name is Aaron Quicksilver, which is in the realm of Toby from Paranormal Activity. Well, like, just because I was like Quicksilver's kind of a cool
one name Quicksilver. That's perfect. A mysterious guy.
Yeah. Aaron. His name's Frank Quicksilver. What? Like, I didn't even know he was human until I read that his name was Aaron Quicksilver. And then it's like, well, I guess he is a human being. Why, I feel like demons don't need two names or nicknames for that matter. But
I agree.
What can you do?
Could you imagine that man approaching your car as you're sitting waiting for your husband to come back and even remotely cracking the window, let alone getting out of it? Because when she cracked the window, I was like, what are you fucking doing? And then she gets out of the car and walks with him.
Getting out of the window. Yeah. He not only walks with him, gets in his like camper RV trailer thing. Yeah. And he's talking like a psycho.
Right.
He's like, oh, pretty lady on the side of the road, huh? And she's like, yeah. Here, let me get out. I can't hear you well enough. What the fuck are you doing? He looks insane. Also, now that you've seen it, I don't know if you remember this, but Mick talks about this in the interview that you're going to hear next week, I think. Yeah, next week. You're going to hear an interview with Mick next week. He said that Christopher Lloyd brought this outfit to set with him. That's all. That's all. And by the way, this is free on YouTube, so you have to go check it out on YouTube. You can't find it anywhere else, but just check out the outfit. It is. Imagine you're casting, and Mick didn't even want to cast him, is what I read, and then ultimately said he liked it. But like, I don't know. I don't care who you are if you show up to set like that. I'm gonna be like, hey, I don't know about this. I don't know about this guy. Just
owning that, yeah. That would be like the only way I could get an outfit like that is if I go through all the live show shit that you've ordered for the past 3 years for us to dress up and pull something together. Yeah.
Well, Christopher Lloyd gets her in his RV van thing, which is, it appears to be a ballroom inside. And he gives this insane monologue. I was going to like quote it like I'll sometimes do, but I don't have any idea what he's saying. But essentially, he's sort of saying, like, he's everywhere, right? He's like, I'm everywhere. I've traveled the roads near and far, collected all of these stories. I'm like, oh, all right. Okay. Get the gist of it. And then the bride finally gets nervous and is like, where's my husband? And then Lloyd kind of goes off the rails even more and is like, what kind of husband leaves a hot lady like you on the side of the road? Like, at that point, like, you gotta leave. You gotta be like, hey, I can't do this. I need to get out of this fucking van. But instead, he's like, you want to hear a story? And she's like, sure.
Arguably, no one on earth I'd want to listen to a story from less
than Aaron Quicksilver.
You're correct. Just based off first impression.
And the way he asks her is, shall I tell you a story I collected? It's all about chattering teeth like yours. Hey, no, I don't think I want to hear that story very much. Sounds like you're about to fucking kill me. It's fucking insane. The bride is played by Missy Kreider, who was in one of my grandparents' favorite miniseries, Lonesome Dove.
Every grandparent's favorite miniseries.
That was a fucking hit for the elderly.
Robert Duvall, a classic.
Oh man, there was something else I was thinking about the other day. It wasn't Riverdance, but Riverdance. Remember how huge Riverdance was?
Riverdance was huge. Yeah.
Everyone owned that VHS. If you went to somebody's house, they had Riverdance.
Yeah. Michael Flatley, a legend for the 70-year-old and older.
People were just enamored by that. Anyway, we get this submitted for your approval by the Midnight Society bit from Christopher Lloyd. And we go into Chattering Teeth, our first story here, and we're introduced to a man in a phone booth in a sandstorm. The sandstorms, I can't even believe those are a thing. But anyway, he's missing his son. He's on the phone with his wife. He's missing his son's birthday. The mom is furious, yelling at him, being like, "What the fuck?" Which is crazy. And the son, she's like, "I'm putting your son on the phone." And then the son is equally nuts and is like, "Dad, you're the worst." Like, you said you'd be here for my birthday. Dude, like, this motherfucker is caught in a sandstorm. Legitimately. And it's also psychotic, but not as psychotic as the piece of shit, like, band van that he's traveling. That van is wild for a traveling salesman to drive
By
around
himself.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very like what was his name? Matt Foley from SNL. Like, this is what the van Matt Foley lives in. Like, it's that type of van. You know exactly. You're probably picturing exactly what I'm talking about. Also, not as psychotic as this dad driving around listening to a Charles Dickinson book on tape.
Tale of Two Cities. Yeah.
Imagine that, popping that in while you drive.
I didn't remember books on tapes that much back then. Were they popular?
I think they were actually popular. Dude, they would come, they were at the library too, I remember, and they'd come in these giant plastic, they looked like the VHS, the plastic VHS ones, like Disney movies came in, but it was huge, and there would be like 8 tapes in it for a single book. But I do think they were popular. I think to a certain group of people, I think it was popular.
Okay.
James's grandparents, like up until like a few years ago, were still using books on cassette. They still might. I honestly don't know. I'm giving them the credit of not doing it, but not on my side. So, now the dad is played by Raphael Sbarge, who had a crazy acting career. He was a regular on Once Upon a Time. He was on Murder in the First, The Guardian. He was on 3 episodes of Dexter in season 5. And all of these people, look up all of these people that are in this segment. They have all been on the same shows. It is a weird parallel. And I'm hoping that they were in the same episodes. I know that's not the case, but they were in like, there's like 6 shows. It was like NYPD Blue, ER, and a few other ones. But I mean, again, those shows have like 1,000 episodes. So,
well, seems like a lot of mixed movies, he reunites actors, whether intentionally or not intentionally. And we talked about that a little bit in the interview, but they all have seemed to work together.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy was also in Carnosaur, which I don't know. Did we do that for an episode or a live show? Or did I just watch that for fun?
We didn't do it because, so wait, no, I'm thinking of a different movie. So we watched it and we were going to record on it. And as we like hit record, you said you wanted it to Audible, and we did something else that we watched instead. I don't know why we watched 2 movies.
That's weird.
Yeah, we did that with The Thing too. We were gonna watch some movie with like killer kids.
Oh,
and you're like, let's just call Paul and talk about The Thing. We did.
Oh, that's so crazy. Yeah, Carnosaur, not a great one. Not a great flick there. One thing I did think was really cool in this movie, and you might disagree, was I liked that the what would you call it? Like the narrative storyline, the overarching storyline characters were playing the characters in the segment, but they were different characters, if that makes sense. The actor was playing, so the husband in the top of the segment plays the husband in this.
Yes.
And the bride, the same thing. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool, but
yeah. And then in the hand, the pickpocket plays the doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Frewer or whatever.
Yep.
So anyway, so he starts driving through this sandstorm. He almost hits a hitchhiker in the middle of the road who is so mad that he almost hit him. But This guy is standing in the middle of
This
the
guy
road
is in the middle of the fucking road.
He stops at a rest stop gas station thing. It's called Scooters, I think. Scooters something. Named after the guy that owns it. You see a cameo of Quicksilver walking out of the store after looking at a pair of chattering teeth. And of course the dad goes over to the chattering teeth, and everyone's just going gaga over these chattering teeth, let me tell you. The store owner's like, that's literally the best thing ever, but my idiot wife broke it, and it's the best thing we've ever had in here. And then the dad's like, holy shit, my kid would fucking love this. And you're like, hey, guys, it's a fucking pair of chattering teeth.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's what the Joker has all over Gotham. You know, you wind up, it has the wind up, and the teeth just move on legs and chatter.
A movie that was like meant to be cartoonish.
Yes.
But this one, they make sure to emphasize that the teeth are metal.
They do.
Which might come into play later.
It might. It does.
What's the name of that guy from James Bond? Jaws? Is his name Jaws?
Jaws? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a grill like those, baby. Who played that guy? Who played that guy?
Richard Keel, the guy from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. That guy's got a face. Hey,
It does.
which face would you rather have, Richard Keel or Rob Zidar? Or Rob Zidar? Robert Zidar? Yeah.
Robert Zidar. I'd much rather Richard Keel.
That's crazy, dude.
No way. Come on.
Jawlines are in, man.
Well, Zidar's not getting knocked out, that's for sure.
No
glass.
Richard Keel, though. Richard Keel's.
Yeah, you can make it work.
Face for radio, baby.
Just grow a beard.
I think that would make it 10 times worse. Wait, who would you rather see a beard on? Rob Zidar or Richard Keel?
Well, I'd rather see it on Rob Zidar, just to see what it looked like. It'd be the widest beard you've ever seen.
A chode beard.
I'm choking.
Well, Joe clears his throat. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Anyway, chattering teeth. They're going nuts over it. Veronica Cartwright plays Scooter's wife. And again, somebody that's been in everything you could fucking imagine. The Birds, Twilight Zone, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, X-Files, Alien. She played Mrs. Pussy in Just Married. That's real.
Wait, who was in Just Married? Is that Ashton Kutcher?
Ashton Kutcher, I think, yeah. She was in Scary Movie 2. She was in this movie called Barry Dingle, which was caught my eye, so I had to click on it. It was during that awful fucking period of Van Wilder, when Van Wilder brought National Lampoons back for like 2 years, and was just the worst. And they were just pumping out those fucking like crude college movies. That's exactly what Barry Dingle was.
Sounds like
those movies were fucking the pits.
Did you like Van Wilder?
No, I never did.
I thought it was fine. I've literally never rewatched it, but
no, I'll be honest. I don't know if I ever actually saw it. It was just that our friend group thought it was great. So I was like,
I mean, that's always the problem.
That movie fucking sucks.
It's wild that Van Wilder is based on Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And then casting Ryan Reynolds as him.
Well, that was the crazy part. Was
in history.
Once Bert made himself public, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what a casting choice! Oh my God, that whole shirtless thing he did was like the fucking worst.
He's still doing it, isn't he?
Is he?
This is a gimmick. Yeah, I think so. I think this is a gimmick.
Fuck, I meant to hit mute when I coughed right into the fucking mic. Sorry, everyone. Fuck. This show's going off without a hitch, I'll tell you. Everything's just working perfectly. Anyway, so you have her. Oh, and then you have Scooter himself. Where do I have his fucking highlights? Because he's... Oh, he wasn't in anything. He was in RoboCop 2. Bill Bullender. And Dante's Peak.
And Shawshank.
And Shawshank. And JFK. I mean, what were his roles in these, though, you know? Old guy.
He was JFK.
After the assassination.
More JFK.
Exhumed body. JFK. Very sensitive episode today. Very just making sure to offend everyone that listens. They end up giving the dad the teeth for free, and he also agrees to give this weird hitchhiker a ride. Hitchhiker is played by Silas Mitchell, who was a staple of like 90s and early 2000s TV and movies. He was in a ton.
Yeah, did you ever watch Prison Break?
I didn't.
My mom loved that show.
Really?
I knew it. I recognized him right away from when he popped on. He just has that face, just a like weaselly face. I don't even mean that as an insult. Like he has to play.
No, he has to. That is his whole thing. He was in Silk Stockings, a horror show favorite. Caroline in the City, remember that one? ER, the X-Files. He was in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And he was in NYPD Blue also. Remember when, I don't know if we ever talked about this. Remember when Dennis Franz showed his ass on NYPD Blue?
I don't.
You don't?
I didn't watch NYPD Blue.
Neither did I, Joe. We were like 7 years old.
So why do you remember Dennis Franz's ass?
Dude, it was all over the news. It was like the biggest news because I think it was the first butt they showed on like network television. And then
Dennis Franz.
Dennis Franz's ass.
Not even
Ricky
Schroeder.
If you don't know who Dennis Franz is, just Google him. He looks like Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, except stockier and shorter. And it was like, it was all over the media that Dennis Franz was going to show his ass on NYPD Blue.
Oh, they built it up as like a cell.
I think it was built up. But this was also in a period where network TV, there were no spoilers. So it might have been just day after reaction, like a true water cooler moment, if you will, where everyone was buzzing.
How's that like garnering views? I got to see Dennis Franz. I'd be sure not to tune in.
So, yeah, I know. I agree. I found the clip. It took me a little while, actually. I found the clip of his butt because I don't think I'd actually ever seen the clip. And it's, dude, Joe, I've never seen a more crowbarred in butt shot in my life. Like they had to go through such efforts to show his butt that it was like, why would you even bother doing this? This is fucking psychotic.
So it's not even a sex scene.
It sort of is. He's in the shower and a lady comes in, and then the lady gets in the shower with him. And for whatever reason, the camera then cuts to their legs and then just goes up. And you just see a tight shot on two butts. Which you think if you were trying to sell it, you'd be like, by the way, there's a lady's butt in this scene. And unfortunately, Dennis Franz is also. But
yeah, so apologies. Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't the first butt on network, but it might have been the first male butt on network.
But to your point about his body type, I feel like his butt would have been hanging out every time he bent over.
Right. It's a weird little butt too. Check it out. Remember when wasn't I Love Lucy the first show that had like a toilet in it? Or no, Psycho. Psycho's the first movie.
Psycho's the first one that had a movie that had a toilet flushing.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
How far we've come. Watch Game of Thrones and it's just dicks and butts out everywhere. According to most sources, the first male butt shown on network television was on the show NYPD Blue with actor Dennis Franz playing Detective Andy Sipowicz, revealing his backside, marking a significant moment for pushing boundaries on broadcast television at the time.
Dennis Franz, good for you.
Real boundary pushing there.
Well, like to the point of Psycho, why did Hitchcock be like, I gotta get this shot of somebody flushing a toilet? Psycho.
I mean, probably the same reason Quentin Tarantino shoots ladies' feet.
He's just into the sound. Okay.
He's just a toilet boy. Alfred Hitchcock, toilet boy. Famously known for being a toilet boy. Paul's gonna lose his mind.
What?
So the dad gets the tea.
The 1963 classic Psycho.
So the dad takes the hitchhiker with him. And he tells him, I don't normally pick up hitchhikers. I had a bad experience a few years ago.
Yeah, guess what?
Okay.
Fun fact. This is not the one to come around on. Like we were talking about earlier, we talk about it all the time. Like, don't sell firearms to people who look disgusting. Don't pick up somebody that looks like this.
Why would you ever? And by the way, the first time they meet, the guy walks in and he's like, hey, you're a real piece of shit for almost running me over. Like, the guy does not like you at all. And then you're like, yeah, I'll give you a ride. But I also like that even though he's also he's not thrilled to be driving this guy, but he really, the firmest line he draws, not about killing him, is don't even, like, he's like, if you fucking smoke in this car, I'll fucking kill you. The guy's like, oh, okay, for sure. I don't know why that's built into the story, but it is. The smoking is a big part of this story.
He has a cigarette in glass in the car.
And is his break for emergencies. Anyway, he immediately starts smoking, of course, and this fucking dad doesn't do shit. He's like, put it out. The hitchhiker puts it out on a drawing his kid gave him and was like hanging up on the dashboard. He had like taped it to the dashboard, and the guy puts it out on the fucking picture, and the dad's just taking it, man.
He's not saying much.
Yeah. It's very weird. It's very weird. Also, the hitchhiker thinks he's rich because he has this piece of shit van. He's like, oh, you must be pretty fucking loaded to have a nice van like this. And dad's like, I did all the work myself. What are we talking about? Fuck. There's nothing in the van. It's a fucking empty van. It's just got fucking hamburger wrappers and shit all over it. And then he pulls out the smallest, dullest knife maybe ever seen.
Sean, that knife was so startling how small that blade was. I don't even know where you could find one like that. My Swiss Army knife blade might be bigger than that.
And he pulls it out like he's like got the fucking like a long ass sharp switchblade, you know, like
right.
He's like, take
which
a look
he
at this.
should have had. It couldn't have been hard to find.
And also, you know, it's bad when it looks just from a grainy footage movie, like very, it's the version we have is very grainy. It's dull. Like you could see that it's like a dull blade.
You would have to stab him so many times to even like remotely slow a person down, right?
Yeah, I think it might be duller than a butter knife. And I'm not even saying, because I don't think there's any serration in it. It's just like this smooth. It's like when you find a spearhead. What were those things called? Is it arrowheads? You know?
Right.
But the ones in the ground, not
in the ground,
from when they actually
but sitting there from years. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 200 years. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this knife. He cuts his hand forces him to finally pull over, but the dad has other plans. The dad starts speeding and is like, I'm going to take us both out and you're going to die because you don't have a seatbelt on.
Because he's not wearing a seatbelt.
Which
he's like, I'll be fine. He's driving 95 miles an hour head on into a Mack truck. That's his rationale.
And also, I love because you'd be like, the first thing you think of is like, well, just put on your seatbelt. And then we cut to the outside of the car, and he somehow closed the entire seatbelt outside the door, just like flapping. It would be so loud, dude. It would cause so much damage to the exterior of the vehicle. Just banging on it. But the dad, after narrowly veering off, avoiding the 18-wheeler, goes flying off what I would estimate as a 3-foot ditch. You see him approaching it and you're like, oh shit. And then it cuts from the other angle and it's like
3 foot's generous. Yeah.
It maybe goes up to my knee. And the car just kind of like flips over. Hurting nobody. Hurting nobody in the process. The hitchhiker's furious that he's bleeding. He screams, what did you do to me? I'm bleeding. Okay. And the dad is stuck in his seatbelt. He can't get it off. But we start hearing some chattering. We get a little teeth chattering. And it walks out of the paper bag. And the dad starts yelling at the teeth to bite him. Going, bite his damn fingers off. This guy is a real piece. I honestly hated this dad so much.
I didn't like this segment at all.
It's a fun segment. But why would that even come out of your mouth? Bite his fingers off. You're talking to an inanimate object. But
both segments have both main actors talking, like, talking to things that can't talk back for a good amount of time.
That is very true. That's actually very true. Also, the hitchhiker pretends it's biting his fingers after the dad says that and is like, ah! And the dad's like, yeah, get him. So, but the teeth attack him, biting his face and his body, and he can't keep them away. And ultimately, they bite off his fucking fingers.
They do.
There's no blood in this, though, by the way. There's one scene with blood in it in the next segment, and that's it. There's 0 blood. Even the severed hands in the next segment are just skin toned. They fully healed. Bites off his fingers, rips out his jugular. Dad passes out. When he wakes up, there's no hitchhiker, and we see the teeth walking towards him. And then he passes out again. I'm assuming those are commercial breaks, but he passes out. When he wakes up again, his seatbelt has been chewed through, allowing him to leave the car. He gets out and he sees the chattering teeth dragging an adult man through the desert. An adult corpse through the desert. We'll see this in the next one. We'll see this in the next one. What is more realistic? Chattering teeth dragging an adult man or hands dragging adult men constantly in the next segment?
Hands, dude.
Metal teeth, though?
Yeah, but the hands got the opposable thumbs, they can grip.
The metal teeth's feet are 3 inches tall. It would take them 16 years to drag this body.
Dude, it's the most Acme Academy shit I've ever seen.
Oh my god, I fucking love it. Well, so yeah, the chattering teeth pull him away into the desert. And it pans up into the sky. When we come back, it's 9 months later. Scooter's place is now called Myra's place. Scooter randomly had revealed that he had cancer. Always a fun thing to just throw into a movie, just for the laugh.
And then immediately replace him It is a place of business.
Yeah.
Change the name.
Right?
soon as
His
he does.
wife, dude, could you imagine if your wife did that? How mad you'd fucking be from the beyond the grave. 9 months, she went up and got a new sign and was like, "Get this fucking guy's name off my fucking store." And the dad shows up again. She remembers him, and he's now got a scar. And she mentions, though, she says, heard the other guy got busted up bad in the crash, crawled out into the desert to die. She goes, I did get something that belongs to you, though. Found him on the porch the next day. And she gives him the chattering teeth.
Yes.
The episode ends with the dad. He goes home to see his son, or he goes home to see his son and his wife, but he calls him. And he ends the phone call with, see you soon, cookie face. And the movie fades out. We go back to Christopher Lloyd and the bride. And the first thing the bride says is, he called her cookie face. Which might be the most realistic reaction to this of all time.
The biggest takeaway. Yeah.
It is the biggest takeaway, because what a detail. Because, you're watching this story and you're forgetting that Christopher Lloyd is telling it. So you're like, he's not telling every single detail that you see in this. And the fact that was a detail he said, and it's confirmed because Christopher Lloyd's response is, oh, that's what they said. What? And then that's when she says, why are you telling me this? Does it have a moral or point? And he's like, does everything have to have a moral or point? She's like, well, yeah.
Would be nice. Yeah. Consider it.
Wasted 40 minutes of my life. He gets very threatening too. He starts saying some weird shit, but then we hear tires skid and a crash. She runs out of the car where the driver's like, is he okay? It was a guy I hit. He was hitchhiking. Cut to the chattering teeth dragging the husband away. And the wife runs up to him and holds him in her arms, and Quicksilver looks so fucking annoyed. And he makes some comment, and I was hoping it was going to be a one-liner, but he just like talks for a couple minutes, and you're just like, I don't even know what you're saying or what you're talking about. And I was like paying attention. Sometimes I say I don't know what he's talking about, and it's just because I wasn't paying attention to the movie. Sure. I was listening because I was very concerned that I was missing things. He is just talking.
Classic Aaron.
Classic Aaron Quicksilver. Can we mention that producer Lexi claims to, what is it? Not resemble, but she relates to him, or she's like him in some facet.
No, I think she says she resembles him.
If producer Lexi would like to clarify on this subject matter, because if it's resemble, yeah. That all of the above. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Nuts. Anyway, that's the end of the chattering teeth. We do not get a smooth segue into the next part. We just cut to Pacific Point Boardwalk. Like, you don't even have Aaron Quicksilver like drive away. You know what I mean? Or pull up in his fucking van somewhere else.
Right.
Because he's the man of the road. Yeah. Right. Which also is kind of weird because the movie's called Quicksilver Highway. He gave a big monologue about how he's on the road and he collects all these stories. And in the next segment, he has a circus tent that he's like fully established at this this boardwalk park, Pacific Point Boardwalk.
Right.
Man of many skills, talents. I don't know. None of the above. At Pacific Point, we get Matt Frewer, Trash Can Man.
Yep.
You pointed out Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in our
he's the neighbor's dad.
Yeah, which was sorry.
I was gonna say I had posted about it last year, 2 years ago on my Instagram because I watched it with the kids. He was 31 years old,
dude,
at the time that movie came out. 30 when it was recorded. He doesn't look a day over 55 in that movie. He is the most dad-looking dad. Like he's almost 10 years younger than I
Truly.
was. Yeah, it's
Truly.
crazy.
So that means, and that movie was what, 88?
89,
Maybe?
I think.
89? He might look younger as Trash Can Man, which is crazy to say.
Well, that's the thing. He looks so old in 89, and even in this one, I was like, oh, that got to come out. This has to have come out around the same time. And this is almost 10 years after, you know? He didn't age that much. It's like he aged incredibly when he hit puberty and then just stopped.
He uses a line in this that I started to think he might ad-lib some of his dialogue, because he said it in this and he used the word Badinsky.
Okay.
And I was like, oh fuck. I was like, I'm pretty sure he says that in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids also.
What's their last name in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Oh, I don't know.
Solinsky? Yeah, Solinsky.
Oh, so maybe it was something along those lines. Anyway, that guy is also a very angry dad in that movie.
In Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah.
Dude, the angriest.
All over fishing. That's his big problem, is the fishing.
Well, because his son doesn't want to like carry the 500-pound tackle box that he has. never seen a bigger tackle box. It's like, this fucking kid is so lazy.
Which this is a lot of what ifs in this episode, or would you rathers? Who would you rather have as a dad? Zelensky, Matt Fuhrer, or Rick Moranis? The ultimate cuck.
Probably Zelensky, or probably Matt Fuhrer.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree.
Zelensky
Your dad
was
just making gadgets.
The other one. Yeah. I would not enjoy having Rick Moranis as my father. Also, he fucking shrunk you.
How is there no safety on his shrink ray? Dude, that movie captured my imagination as a kid. That was like one of my favorite movies.
That movie rocks.
Oh,
still holds up.
That movie changed my fucking life as a kid. I loved the animated intro where they get stuck in the envelope. That had like a weird sensory thing for me, because the sound of them hitting the plastic was so, I don't know. It was a very like, what do they call it? SMR, AMR, whatever the fuck it's called. It had like a really weird sensory thing for me when they were stuck in the plastic in the animated intro to the movie.
Dude, that kiss scene, do you remember that? Oh. They are using tongue. Like I watched it with my kids. I'm like, that kids, what the fuck? What is happening?
Couple teens Frenching.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is a little weird. Back at Pacific Point Park, Matt Frewer is a pickpocket. He is stealing everybody's shit. He then goes into a sideshow tent with torture devices and babies in fucking pickling jars. What do you call them? Like I don't know what they're called, but it was like a human child.
Formaldehyde,
which is formaldehyde.
Fermenting.
Pickling a person. And then Lexi shows up. She shows up in her duster in bowl cut. And Quicksilver introduces him to the Hand of Glory, which you'd think would matter. It doesn't. 5-minute monologue about the fucking pagans and this Hand of Glory thing. But it's I wonder if that's real though. That thing, the Hand of Glory, because he claimed it was like a real hand that they would turn into like a candle.
Let's see.
I wonder if that's real. He said it was pagan. Give it a search. A pickled hand. Anyway,
yeah,
I have no idea what he's talking about. It's right?
It's real, yeah.
Oh shit.
The Hand of Glory is a dried and pickled hand of a hanged man.
We did some weird fucking shit back in the day. Like, who thought of that?
Yeah, it's nuts.
it was just a bunch of deranged people walking around. We didn't know to like lock them up yet. So, and they were like giving out ideas and we were like, that sounds like a good idea. The guy Phil down the street said to fucking pickle that guy's hand and use it as a candle. Everyone's like, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I've got nothing to do today. Why not? Anyway, he tells him this whole story, and essentially he gets to the point about that Trash Can Man has talented hands because he's a pickpocketer. And he's like, this is a story about talented hands. And then we go into this movie about talented hands. It's not about that. Get ready for the most insane plot line of all time. So we meet Matt Frewer again, playing Dr. Charles George, who I will continue to refer to as Trash Can Man. He is a surgeon, a plastic surgeon at a hospital. You get a Clive Barker cameo that I mentioned earlier. And while driving home one day, his hands suddenly have a mind of their own and they take control, almost causing him to crash. There was nothing I was aware of that would have caused this to happen. I think it just started. He goes home and we meet his wife, who is none other than Mrs. Garris.
Yes.
Mick's wife, Cynthia. And this scene, the Trash Can Man slaps her ass. And I was like, that's crazy. Imagine directing that. This guy slapping her ass, you doing like multiple takes of it. But then we cut to Trash Can Man and Mrs. Garris making out in a bathtub while she's wearing she's fully submerged in a bathtub in a fucking robe. One of the wildest things I've ever seen. This must have been pre-Dennis Franz butt.
For sure.
The mold hadn't been broken yet. The glass ceiling for butts hadn't been broken yet. So I don't know how you direct that.
With your wife, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Both of his hands start talking to each other that night while he's sleeping. He goes to sleep and his hands are moving. It almost looks like sign language, but I don't think it is. And they're verbally speaking to each other. And they are plotting how they are going to cut themselves off of his body. And one of them is calling himself the Messiah. And he's going to cut off the other hand first and tell him to go get more followers. And Mick's wife is watching this happen. She can't hear them, though, clearly.
Right. I also just remember the end, and honestly just like threw me for a loop. So
the end's the best. He then goes to therapy. It doesn't matter other than to interject this random character that will be in the rest of the movie for some reason. His therapist plays just a main character in this, but not as a therapist, really, just as a guy that keeps showing up places. More hand talking. Tonight we escape the tyranny of the body. Mrs. Garris, that the next night, tries to kiss him goodnight. The hands are doing this thing again. They take control. They strangle her. Matt Frewer wakes up and is like, no, no, no. But they end up killing his wife, strangling her to death.
yes.
So he goes to use the phone to call for help. The hands won't let him. He's finally able to get his therapist on the phone. He says, it's my hands. They want to kill me. And he called his therapist. He did not call a police officer. He did not call anything. He called his therapist, who was like, hey, can you call me in the fucking morning at my office? But whatever. The hands start dragging him. Like he's crawling, but it's the hands pulling the body. Like the hands aren't severed yet. Until right now, when they grab a butcher knife and lop off one of his hands, just clean off, and that hand runs away and escapes through a doggy door. So happens.
Does anyone love being in movies with hands that have a mind of their own than Christopher Lloyd?
Was he? Oh no, yeah, no. Was he an
Big fan
Idle
of
Hands
hand
or
actors. No, he's in the Addams Family with
Well, Adam's
Thing.
Family, yeah.
Yeah.
Thing, the best hand acting of all time.
I would agree. Yeah. Hard to argue.
Hard to argue. Not a lot in the category. They rush Trash Can Man to the hospital. They knock him out with drugs, but the hand shows up. The severed hand shows up at the hospital, attacks the security guard, screaming, "Taste the freedom, join me and be free." This causes the security guard's hands to become sentient, and they drag him down the hallway to the surgery room, is what it's labeled, where we presume they also lopped off those hands.
Yes.
As well. All the patients, all the nurses, all the doctors, all of their hands become sentient. Everyone's freaking out, killing their owners. The hands are loose. Trash Can Man has a weird dream of him being buried alive, which was a very weird choice to include in this segment because I don't know why.
It's already insane enough. I mean, there doesn't need to be a dream sequence.
No, and it's a longer segment too, so that really, I don't know, that was just weird. When he wakes up, he finds his hand trying to suffocate him, not by, using a pillow or a blanket nearby, but by being a balled up fist in his mouth. Not even just covering his mouth and nose, which you could do with one hand. Balling up your fist and putting it in his mouth. Fucking wild maneuver. And then he starts talking to the hand, and he can hear the hand now. The hand talks to him.
Yes.
It's very odd. And Trash Can Man's like, "Listen, I'm gonna kill myself, and then you're done. And I'll be buried and dead, and there's nothing you can do about it." Which I guess goes back to the dream sequence, but he could have just said that and we would have picked it up. The hand ends up taking him outside where he calls his army of hands by banging on the metal railing. And then there is a tree full of
a tree of hands.
They're all perched up on trees. And by the way, the voice of the hand, we should mention, is one of the funniest things of all time. It's like, it's like this modulated, almost chipmunk-like modulation voice on these characters. It's fucking weird. Producer Lexi would like me to do the voice again. I don't even think that was in it. But they're all like, free the Messiah, get the Messiah. Like, it's very bizarre. Anyway, they say the revolution is at hand, which, come on, you didn't even give a wink. I'll take a wink at the camera for that joke. Yeah. Give me something on that one. That was good. Trash Can Man, though, is like, "Over my dead body." He climbs up the fire escape. The hand tries stopping him. But all of his followers are joining him. They're all going up the fire escape. Do you think you could stop your hand from doing this?
I feel like because it's just from your wrists to your fingers.
Yeah, but also, like, there's a lot it could do.
Yeah, but you have the rest of your arm.
I don't know why I'm asking this. It makes no sense, but... Because, like, if you lock up your arm, your hand can't do anything.
Right.
But somehow
it doesn't
has
control your
force. Anyway.
Yeah.
Mick, you really should have looked at the science of arms.
the physics of it.
It's a joke, guys. Don't tell him we said that. So he climbs the fire escape. His therapist is also there climbing the fire escape because now his hands are possessed and the hands are screaming, "Follow me and be free." That's what Trash Can Man yells. Because he's like, "I'm the Messiah. Follow me and be free." And he throws himself off the fucking building.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone jump off a building like that in a movie where the body is like spinning in the air. It was honestly kind of disturbing to watch. Because I was like, I feel like more realistically, that's kind of what it would be like, you know?
Yeah, which the most realistic shot in either segment.
It like made me feel uncomfortable. I really did not like it all that much. He dies, and then we watch 24 hands jump off the roof, screaming and dying. Was that worse? Is the hands jumping off the building worse than the happening buildings?
Mackenzie,
The construction workers.
Yes, the hands.
Oh man. We see the pile of hands in the road. It's shot like very dramatically too. I like that. And then we watch them picking up the hands with like tongs, putting them in evidence bags. And we see the aftermath. And this leads us, the camera's still rolling, so you're like, where are we going with this? And the camera goes into the hospital. It goes into a room where we see a girl sitting there. And you're like, oh God, her hands are gonna come alive. And then her fucking nose starts wiggling. And it's CGI. The nose is CGI. And it's like, I shouldn't say wiggling. It's like bending.
It's,
left and right.
Bending left to right. Yeah. Like one of those Snapchat filters.
Yes. Leading us to believe her nose has become sentient.
She believes that too, because she picks up garden shears.
Yeah.
And then
but like the hands controlled, the hands wielded the knife to free themselves.
Yeah, I don't know what the nose.
You didn't really have a choice, right? Like the hand was like, I'm going to free myself. I'm going to grab this knife and free this other hand first.
Right.
The nose has zero control over anything. Just
annoy you all day. Yeah.
But
I would chop it off too.
Yeah, that could be. You know, I would just like fart so much that like I'm farted into submission.
Okay.
You know, like just fucking remember that urban legend of the guy that farted so much he died because he was in a small he lived in a small house.
Oh
and
yeah,
farted so much he died.
Carbon monoxide poison. I don't think that was an urban legend. I think that was real.
That can't fucking be real.
I think it was on the news.
It was not on the news, but it was on.
Might have been.
Remember that fucking, what was that channel? Was it Spike TV? The 100 Ways to Die?
Yeah. I actually never seen that show, but okay, so it's true. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I don't know if that makes it true. Remember butt chugging?
I do.
Did you ever butt chug?
I did not.
Remember? I took the member berries tonight. Remember the tampons soaked in vodka?
I do.
That was a wild one.
I did not do that either.
What scared me about that one was the number of people I met that was like, it gets you fucked up faster. And I was like, huh.
Just
why are you saying that? Why are you telling me that?
Like, you're like going through that effort when you could just pour yourself an extra shot after you drink one. Like, I don't understand.
Boofing? No, isn't boofing when you use the toilet roll to like blow weed smoke through?
Boofing is
a slang term for inserting drugs or alcohol into your anus to produce a more immediate high or avoid.
I just know it's butt chugging. Yeah.
Or avoid the risks of other methods of administration. Hey, I think that's the biggest.
Dude,
risk.
drink alcohol.
Shoving it up your ass.
Shoving it up your asshole. Yeah.
Hey, drinking this shot is pretty dangerous. Let's make sure we be safe tonight and shove it up our asses.
Put this beer bong tube directly into my ass and pour all the alcohol down it.
That'll be good. Boofing, also called plugging, hooping, up the bum, UTB, shafting, booty bumping, or shelving. Shelving refers to the rectal insertion of illicit drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, I mean,
man,
just if you're gonna do it,
just do them.
Just fucking do it. Kidding me?
That's a fucking mental boofing. Hey, come out to Salem in May. We're gonna be boofing all night.
Boofing in the streets of Salem.
Everyone will be like, "Why aren't you guys drinking at the bar?" And we'll be like, "Oh,
we are. Going directly into my asshole.
It's absorbing as we speak. But if I sneeze, it's over. It's probably shut the bar down if I sneeze.
Packing a fat lip right now. Be my ass cheeks.
I feel like people did do that, right? That was a thing.
I mean, I hope not. Stop it.
Oh God. Anyway,
smoking a cigar with your ass would be funny though.
That would be funny. Do you think Aaron Quicksilver boofs?
For sure. That's why he looks like that.
He might have invented it. Boofing on the roads of the Quicksilver Highway. Shoving vodka up his ass.
That's how you avoid DUIs.
Because to be safe. To be safe. Like, I don't want this to affect my my looks. Oh my God. Fuck. That's funny. Boof Silver. Producer Lexi says boofing on the roads of the Quicksilver Highway sounds like a Hemingway story. Hey, you never know. You never know. Anyway, that's the end of that story. We go back to Christopher Lloyd, who, again, is asked if there's a moral to this, which he says no. He was just like, hey, why is everyone asking me that today? You know, you're not the first guy to ask me that. Maybe I should, maybe these stories need a little punch up. Anyway, it ends with Trash Can Man leaving the tent, but he loses control of his hands, and they force him to try and pickpocket a police officer who just knows him by name and is like, "Hey, Charlie, let's fucking go." They arrest him. That's the end of the movie. And it ends with like a very goosebumpsy theme song too at the end. Are you afraid?
Something the funniest part is what you just said, how both stories don't tie together, other than Aaron made them listen to it, and both of them did not have a point.
And no one learned their lesson, but not even, because like you could see these weren't, well, the bride she wasn't a bad person, but
she didn't do anything wrong. Yeah,
you could see like the pickpocket being like, well, I don't need your morals for I'm living my life, which is kind of what he says, but the bigger thing is that they're like, so what's the moral? And and Christopher Lloyd's like, I don't know. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna leave now. Like, if you're not trying to teach me anything, I guess I'll leave.
They're willing to listen. Please tell me what I should take from this.
Yeah, like, I'm in trouble. Like, maybe you're gonna help me with this story. And he's like, no. Oh. Okay, well, I guess I'll be on my way then. Which is really funny because Matt Frewer's character in it, after Christopher Lloyd's like, there is no moral, he almost like helps him by being like, listen, if there was a moral to the story, I wouldn't have listened to it anyway, because you're not going to change the way I live my life. Like trying to help him out. Like feels bad for Aaron Quicksilver, who like can't tell a story properly. So he's like, I'm assuming you're going to go this way. So I assume this is what you were trying to do, but you're not giving me a fucking inch here, buddy. You're not helping me at all with this. It's crazy that twice he was like, no moral.
Twice. In a
No
two-story
point.
in a two-story analogy.
And the first one he specifically says, why does everything have to have a moral or point? And he's really flustered by it. He's very flustered by it. Now, Mick said that because when they released it on video, they swapped them. And the hand segment was first and chattering teeth was last. And Mick was not happy about that because
he thought
thought
the hand was more cinematic. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. I like chattering teeth.
I mean, sure.
Well, tune in next week for our interview with Mick, where we, I think I say this is a great movie and one of my favorite movies. So tune in for that. That'll be fun. Actually, it's a great interview, though. He was super fun.
He was very fun. Very nice.
He was very fun. These are a little dated. This is a TV movie. You know, he had some constraints. It was on fucking Fox on primetime. So
right.
There's definitely some constraints there. And, you know, he just made a fun movie. And honestly, to me, it's a cool movie that you can show your kid because there's nothing.
That's a good point. Well, I mean, you nailed it with a Goosebumps analogy. Like if somebody's young trying to get into horror, it's not the worst place to start.
Yeah. I think the problem is, and I don't know this because I didn't see any advertisements, but to me, based on the cover of it and just kind of the way it is, it seems like they were trying to gear this towards adults, and it just was like they should have just made it a kid's special.
Right.
I can't even think of a scene that would pose an issue to a kid above 7, maybe even 6. Like the bathtub makeout, maybe. There's no blood in chattering teeth. There's a little bit of blood in the hand one.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe the garden shears in the nose. That would probably be the only thing.
Yeah, but you don't see it. It cuts away.
Yeah. What a choice. Anyway, good job, Mick. Wish you kept the boofing cut. Release the boof cut.
Release the boof cut, yeah.
Release the boof cut. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. Again, go check out the Magic Mind gummies, magicmind.com/horrorgm. And you could also use the code horror25 directly on their website to get 25% off of those. You can also check us out. Salem Horror Fest, May 3rd, 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Stay tuned to all those accounts, Horror Arts Collective and Salem Horror, when tickets go on sale. We don't have the details on that yet, so just keep an eye out for that, and we'll be posting it on our Instagram at I Hate Horror. We got trivia at 9 at Bit Bar also, which will be super fun. Make sure you check out our YouTube page and all that. You can find, and patreon.com/IHateHorror, and you can find the links to everything over at IHateHorror.com. And make sure you follow producer Lexi at Cult of Craven. What a great title. What a great handle. And that's it for this week's episode, everyone. Thank you all so much. Thank you to Joe. Enjoy next week's episode with the Mick Garris interview. And we will be back in our new studio the week after that for the final episode of March Garris. What will it be? He gives us a pick. What will it be? We should do a poll and have people guess what Mick's pick is for March Garris. And see if anyone gets it. Anyway, everyone, thank you all so much. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to producer Lexi. And thanks to all of you for listening. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
I like my voyeurism with a glass of red rum, cause I'm a gorehound, hellbound, or movie lover. Good and evil are just colors on the spectrum, cause I'm a